They're packed in so tight you can feel the heartbeat of the man beside you. Not metaphorically, literally.
Nó hỏng hoàn
A
toàn rồi.
shoulder
Giữ
pressed
vững.
into your ribs,
Đừng ngã.
a helmet rim scraping your cheek, and the air
call this
is
the
thick
Broken
with
Bridge River.
dust and chalky
Today,
earth,
it
so
lived up to its
heavy
name.
you have to swallow
We
just to
are cut off.
breathe. Somewhere
bridge is
ahead,
gone. We
steel
are
is
trapped.
ringing.
Hold the line.
Somewhere behind,
Get back
men
from
are
the
shouting.
edge.
But right here, right now,
Bridge is broken.
all you can hear is your own
back,
breath
everyone,
rasping
fall
in your throat and the soft, ugly sound of bodies shifting like a single trapped animal. You turn
Watch
your
the
head
river.
just
Hold
enough
your
to see
ground.
past
Do
the
not push
line of
forward.
backs and spear shafts, and your stomach drops. The bridge is gone. Not damaged,
The bridge is
not
broken.
threatened,
Stack your shields.
collapsed.
We hold the line here.
A broken spine of timber and rope, half submerged, twisting in the current. Your only retreat is a memory. Behind you, the river is raging,
bridge is
dark,
broken.
swollen, violent,
We're sitting
and in front of
targets
you
here.
is the enemy
Move back,
line
move
closing like a gate. That's when the realization hits. Cold, clean, sharper than the edge of your blade. Nobody is going
The
home
bridge
today.
has collapsed. Push the shields forward.
Most days, a
Maintain
battle
the
in this
formation.
world has rules. Not kind rules, not fair rules, but rules all the same. A knight in good armor
The bridge
is a
is gone.
prize.
We're trapped.
A noble
Fall
in
back.
bright colors
Get
is
away
a
from the
purse
edge.
with legs. A man of status
The
is
bridge
worth
is
more
gone.
alive than dead.
We are trapped here. What do we
because he
do
can
now?
be traded back for gold, land, favors, or future
Gone. The bridge
marriage.
is gone. Fall back.
Even enemies understand the value of a breathing body. Usually. Today is not usually. Today, across the field, above the press of helmets
The
and
river's too
flags,
strong.
the enemy commander has raised a banner the
Move
color
back.
of fresh
Get the
blood.
shields up.
The signal is unmistakable. No quarter, no prisoners, no mercy, no bargaining,
Lùi lại.
no surrender.
Giữ vững. Cây cầu sập
It's
rồi.
not just a
Chúng ta
threat,
phải làm sao đây?
it's an instruction. A promise made visible to every man who can still see. And the moment that cloth catches the wind, the old logic of
bridge is
chivalry
down.
collapses
We're trapped.
the way your bridge did.
Hold the line. Shields up.
Why would men who pray, men who farm, men who kiss their children, choose to do something so absolute to one another? The simplest answer is hatred. Not the casual dislike of rivals. Not the polite contempt of strangers.
For
The
red
kind of
flag.
hatred that comes from
Attack.
civil war, where the person trying to kill you speaks your language and knows the same songs, and might even have shared the same market road as you when you were boys. Or the kind of hatred that comes from religion, where the enemy isn't just wrong. The enemy is blasphemy with a face. In these wars, you don't look across the field and see honorable opponents. You see traitors,
Red
heretics,
flag does not
people who,
bear.
by the story your side tells, have forfeited the right to live. That's how men justify the unthinkable. They rename it. They sanctify it.
Forward.
They say,
Destroy them all.
this is necessary. And then they do it. There are battles in the Chronicles where commanders gave the order plainly, spare no one. A name in the past, Towton, 1461, still echoes like a warning. A day when the killing didn't end when one side broke, because breaking was not allowed to become escape.
Forward to victory.
Look around you. The men shoulder to shoulder with you are not foreign. They are not exotic. They are not strangers from a different world. They're from the same soil, the same rain. Some might even be from your province. And still, the animosity is so deep, it feels like it has soaked into the ground. Like the earth itself is poisoned. You can't surrender to poison. If you drop your sword, if you raise your hands, they won't take you. They'll cut you down where you stand. Because mercy has been outlawed by a strip of red cloth. And the terrifying part is that you won't even have room to beg. Because you're being crushed. This is the
Push
press.
them back. Hold firm.
It isn't a metaphor. It's physics. Thousands of men packed so tight that your arms can't swing freely. Your weapon is pinned by bodies. Your chest can't expand the way it wants to. You breathe in shallow sips, like a drowning man trying not to swallow water. In many battles, more men died from this, crushing, suffocation, the slow theft of air, than from blades.
Hold the line, comrades.
The press kills quietly. It kills without drama. It kills the brave and the coward the same way. And when you feel it tightening, you understand something primal.
Push them back.
Panic
Hold the
spreads
line.
faster than
We need
orders,
help over here.
like wildfire through dry grass, like a spark in a
Push them
barn.
back. Help me, comrades. Push.
You try to move backward, you can't. The ranks behind you are pushing forward, not because they're eager, but because they don't understand what's happening at the front. They're still following the oldest instruction in war. Move up, hold the line, don't break. The front is being turned into a grinder, but the back is still feeding men into it. You want to shout. You want to warn them. You want to say, "Stop, we're trapped." But your voice is swallowed by steel and screaming and dust. And now the only space that opens is the space left by a man
Hold the
falling.
line. Push forward.
You see bodies piling. Not like the neat piles you imagine in stories. These are tangled, twisted heaps. Armor locked with armor, limbs at wrong angles, faces half hidden in mud. And you realize something else.
We need
If
help.
the only way out
Push.
is behind you,
Hold the line.
and
Push them
behind
back.
you is gone, then the only way out is over. Over the dead. Over your friends. Over the men who were shouting your name 5 minutes ago. That's what no quarter turns a battlefield into. A place where the
Hold the line,
ground
comrades.
becomes
Push them
steps
back.
made of
We can't
people.
breathe.
There is a grim, tactical logic to the slaughter. It isn't beautiful, it isn't noble, but it is real.
Line. Push forward.
If the attacking force is outnumbered, they can't afford prisoners. Prisoners require
We need
guards.
support on the left.
Guards mean fewer men in the fighting line. Fewer men in the line means you get surrounded, and you get erased. So commanders make a decision with a cold accountant's mind.
Push. Hold the line. Push.
Kill them all now, so they can't rise later. There's an infamous example,
Push
Agincourt,
forward. Hold the line.
1415, where prisoners were executed because the victor feared a renewed
can't
attack
breathe.
from behind. Not because the killers were monsters born that way, but because fear and math and control can turn anyone into a butcher. You watch knights, men who were raised to believe they were sacred to the battlefield,
Push forward.
dragged into the muck,
We need help on the
held
left.
down and finished like livestock. The old code is not merely broken, it is vapor. It disappears under the heat of desperation. War is not a tournament,
Send
not when the stakes are
reinforcements to the
survival,
center.
not when the sun is going down and you have to make it to tomorrow.
Hold. Push them
In
back.
these moments, the battlefield stops being a place where
Comrades, help
skill
us.
matters most and becomes a place where endurance matters more. Your arm burns from parrying, your shoulder aches from the weight of your shield, your fingers
line,
cramp
push.
around the grip of your weapon. But you can't stop, because stopping is the same as dying,
Push. We need
and your
support
body
on the
knows
left.
it.
Push them back.
It feeds you a frantic strength, the strength of a cornered animal. Sometimes the terrain itself becomes an executioner. The field turns to mud under thousands of boots. A ditch becomes a trap when men fall into it and can't climb out. A marsh swallows those who stumble. A river becomes a wall. Heavy armor, your protection, turns into your sentence. If you're shoved into water, the metal doesn't float. It drags. It drags you down with a gentle, unstoppable force. And you cannot fight the river the way you fight a man. Thousands have died that way in panicked retreat, their cries swallowed by the current while enemies watched from higher, drier ground. The river doesn't care who you are. The river doesn't care what banner you serve. The river only cares about weight. And when men know there will be no mercy, they fight differently. They don't conserve energy. They don't look for perfect openings. They don't play for time. They swing with fury. They stab with desperation. They strike like every blow is the last blow they will ever get to throw. It is terrifying to witness because it is not controlled violence. It is survival erupting through the thin skin of civilization. There have been wars against Swiss mercenary pike squares, for example, where both sides understood the rules before the first step. No prisoners, no bargains, only erasure. A pike wall advances with mechanical precision, a forest of spear points moving as one. And it doesn't care about your title, your family, your ransom value. Your name means nothing to a spear. After a fight like this, the silence is heavier than the noise. Because in many battles, once one side wins, the field fills with wounded men pleading for water. The groans rise like fall. The victors step around bodies, searching for valuables, gathering prisoners. Not here, not today. In a no-quarter battle, the victors sometimes walk the field afterward to finish what the fighting started. No wounded left alive. No survivors to tell the story from the wrong angle. No cries for water, because mercy is not part of the plan. It's a scene of finality so absolute, it feels unreal. An afternoon that wipes out a generation. And you might ask, if you could step outside your own fear for a second, why anyone would march into such a place at all? Most of the time, you don't know it will be a massacre until the trap is already closed. You march out with confidence. You trust your commander. You believe in the plan. You believe that if things go wrong, you can fall back and regroup. And then you look behind you, and the bridge is gone. Or the road is blocked, or the forest is burning, or the river is rising, or the enemy has moved faster than anyone thought possible. You don't enter the killing box knowingly. You realize you're inside it, and the walls are already in place. Even for the victors, this kind of slaughter is work. People don't like to admit that, but it's true. Killing thousands of men who won't break is exhausting. It takes hours. It takes strength. It takes relentless repetition. Strike, parry, push, stab, step, strike again, until your arms feel like they belong to someone else. The field becomes a machine for turning bodies into silence. And the men doing the killing aren't always triumphant. Sometimes they're just committed. Sometimes they're frightened, too. Sometimes they're following orders because stopping would mean their own side turns on them. Violence doesn't always come with a villain's grin. Sometimes it comes with a blank face and shaking hands. Chroniclers love to write that rivers ran red with blood. It sounds like poetry.
It wasn't the bullets that scared us, it was the mud.
A dramatic
Once it had
flourish
you, it
for
never
the
let
page.
go.
But imagine a confined space, a narrow strip of ground against a riverbank, and imagine thousands of bodies being cut, torn, crushed. Blood doesn't vanish. It pools. It soaks. It mixes with soil and rainwater and spilled guts until the ground becomes a slick mire that steals your footing.
The mud was thick,
You slip,
slick with the
you
blood of our
scramble,
own.
you
One
grab
slip
at a
out
strap,
here and you
a
were
shoulder,
done
a
for.
spear shaft, and then you're down. And down in the press is where men disappear. In religious wars, the cruelty sharpens even further, because the enemy is not seen as human. The enemy is seen as an offense. To kill you, in that mindset, is not a sin. It is devotion. It is service. It is, in their eyes, a ticket to paradise. That kind of zeal removes hesitation. It turns ordinary men into relentless engines, men who do not stop when you beg. Men who do not slow down when you fall. Men who step forward again and again until you are gone. Faith can be beautiful, but in war, faith can become a blade that never dulls. When the encirclement is complete, the battle stops feeling like combat and starts feeling like execution. The circle tightens, your space shrinks, your friends drop one by one. The enemy squeezes closer, methodical, patient. There is no room left for heroism, only the slow approach of the end. In theory, the rich and powerful can hope for ransom. In theory. But even they are not safe in a true rout. If the enemy is a peasant army rising against lords, they may take special pleasure in killing the knights who once rode them down, the men who collected their grain, the men who owned their children's futures. In that moment, your gold spurs are not protection. They are a target. Your velvet is not armor. It is a mark. The symbols that used to buy mercy now purchase hatred. The noise never stops. Screams, metal on metal, the wet crack of wood breaking, the choking cough of dust, the thunder of boots. It becomes a wall of sound so thick it drowns your thoughts. You don't think in sentences anymore. You think in instincts. Left, block. Right, step. Up, breathe. Down, don't fall. You are one drop in a sea of violence, and the sea doesn't remember drop. Even if you break through, even if you somehow force a gap in the enemy line, the danger does not end at the edge of the field, because the land itself can become hostile.
Help me,
Local
I can't swim
peasants
in
may
this
hunt
armor.
survivors
The
for
current is too
revenge,
strong.
for loot, for fear, or for duty. A man running through fields in torn armor looks like a threat. A man carrying a sword looks like trouble. A man who lost his unit looks like easy prey. The battlefield can chase you into forests, into villages, into the night. The idea of total war sounds modern, but the medieval world knew it
Get
too.
off me! Help!
When a city is taken by
pushing us,
storm
watch out!
after a long siege, the killing can be indiscriminate. Men, women, children, the logic becomes punishment and prevention. Make an example. Erase the possibility of resistance. The darkest side of humanity appears when constraints are removed and the only law is power. In the end, these no-quarter engagements stop only when everyone is dead, because the objective is not victory in the usual sense. It is deletion.
Help us! We're sinking! Don't let
The
go!
winners want certainty. They want to make sure the enemy cannot
My armor is
return,
too heavy.
cannot regroup, cannot threaten them again. It is a brutal calculus. Trade thousands of lives for the promise of peace. And you, standing here, pressed against strangers who sound like neighbors, are the currency being
I can't
spent.
breathe! The armor! It's
The
pulling
sun
me down!
lowers, and in a
Don't let them
strange,
push us in.
quiet corner of your mind, you notice it.
My armor!
The light
it's
on the
pulling me
horizon
under.
is beautiful.
Help!
Soft
Get back!
gold
Help,
cutting
we're
through
sinking.
dust. A strip of calm
The current
color
is
at
too
the edge of a
strong.
world gone mad.
Help me!
And you
I
think,
can't swim
without
in this
meaning
armor.
to,
They're pulling us under.
this
Hold
may
on to
be the
bank.
last beautiful
Get off
thing
me.
I ever
I don't want to
see.
drown.
Then the enemy line surges again. A final crash, a final shove, a final violent decision. You raise your weapon, not because you think you will win, not because you think history will remember your name, but because there is no other choice left. In this pit of death, the only way out is through. And let's slow it down and see what your senses are doing. Because in this kind of battle, your body becomes your only map. You taste grit between your teeth. Your tongue is dry, like it's wrapped in cloth. Sweat runs down your neck and disappears under the collar of your armor. Every breath feels expensive. A man bumps you from behind, hard, and your helmet knocks against someone else's helm with a dull, ringing clack. You can't apologize. There's no space for manners. You catch flashes of color through the dust, a stripe of cloth, a painted shield, a banner snapping, and each flash makes your brain ask the same question: friend or death? Somewhere in the crush, a horse screams. Not a cinematic scream, a real one. High, panicked, raw. The animal is trapped too, pinned by bodies. It thrashes, hooves striking anything it can reach. A knight shouts for control, but control is a luxury now. The horse slips. The knight goes down.
And you watch a man with a name and a lineage and a future vanish under boots, like he was never more than dirt. That's another truth of the press. Falling isn't a mistake. It's a sentence. You try to keep your feet. You widen your stance as much as the crowd allows. You plant the edge of your boot in the mud. You lean into the pressure the way a dock worker leans into a rope. You keep yourself upright by sheer stubbornness. And then the line lurches. A wave runs through the mass, front to back. A sudden shove like the whole army inhaled at once. You're thrown forward. Your shoulder slams into a shield. Your weapon arm jerks up, pinned, useless. For a second, you're not fighting men. You're fighting gravity. You're fighting panic. You're fighting the crowd. This is why these battles become massacres so quickly. Not because every soldier is a professional killer, but because once the press forms, individual skill starts to matter less than placement. You can be brave and still suffocate. You can be strong and still be crushed. You can be armored and still drown in mud. The battlefield becomes a terrible kind of architecture. Walls made of bodies. Doors that open only when someone dies. And above it all, commanders are making decisions that ripple outward. They look at the field and see shapes, not faces. A bulge in the line, a gap forming, a chance to roll an enemy flank, a chance to complete the encirclement. They don't feel your ribs compressing. They don't smell the blood in the dirt. They don't hear the small sounds, the choking, the whimpering, the prayers whispered into helmets. They see victory, or they see disaster, and they move men like stones on a board. When the no quarter banner is raised, it also changes your enemy's mood. It gives them permission. A soldier who might have hesitated, who might have taken a surrendering man and looked away, now feels watched, judged, bound by the signal overhead. Finish it, the banner says. Don't be soft. Don't leave a threat behind you. So the killing becomes cleaner in its intent and uglier in its outcome. There's always a moment, when someone near you tries to give up anyway. Maybe he throws down his sword. Maybe he shouts that he'll pay. Maybe he cries that he has children. And you see it happen fast. A blade comes down. A spear thrusts forward. A helmet splits. The body folds like wet cloth. The men doing it don't stop to argue. They don't pause to consider his humanity. They just obey the new rule of the day. And that is when you truly believe it. No one is leaving. The circle tightens. You can feel it like a belt being pulled. Fewer angles to move, less room to breathe, more heat from bodies pressed against you. The enemy is patient now. They don't need to rush. Rushing creates gaps. Rushing creates mistakes. So they squeeze, step by step. A methodical advance that turns your world into a shrinking room.
Over here!
Every
The
time you
footprints are
parry,
fresh.
your
Get 'em!
shoulder screams. Every time you strike,
He
your
went into
grip
the darkness.
slips with sweat
Quickly,
and
follow me.
mud. You're not thinking about glory, you're thinking about air.
He's heading towards the river.
And then,
Don't let him
in the
escape.
middle of the chaos, your mind does something strange. It remembers
Just ahead.
details.
Don't let him escape.
A dent in
Move
a shield,
faster.
a torn strap on a gauntlet, the pattern of stitching on a
This way, the
banner,
tracks are fresh.
the smell
Don't let him
of
reach the
wet
river.
wool.
He's moving fast. Spread
Because
out.
fear sharpens perception the way a whetstone
He's heading
sharpens
into the woods.
steel.
Spread out and find
Your
him.
brain is
Don't let him
trying to
escape.
catalog the world, desperate to find an escape route that does
This
not
way.
exist.
I found the tracks. Quickly now.
If you survive long enough to see the aftermath, if you live to step away
Here, he
from
went
the
this
press,
way. Quickly after
what
him.
you find
This
is
way.
not triumph. It's quiet. It's shock.
Just ahead. Don't lose
It's
him.
men staring at their own hands as if they belong to someone else. The victors are
Follow
breathing
the tracks.
hard.
He just
Some
passed.
are vomiting. Some are laughing. Thin, brittle laughter that isn't joy, but relief that their own hearts are still beating. And then the practical work begins.
He went this way.
Searching bodies,
Follow the tracks,
stripping
quickly.
armor, dragging the dead out of the way, finishing the wounded if orders
Follow
demand
the
it.
tracks. Don't let them get away.
The field becomes a ledger of losses. A place
Quickly.
where names
Over here.
vanish
I
without
found his trail.
ceremony.
Quickly now.
And for those who try to flee, those few who break
They
through,
went this way.
the
Hurry,
world
after
beyond
them.
the battlefield
Faster.
can be just as deadly. A ditch to
Don't
hide
let them
in
get away.
becomes a
The
grave.
mud's deep here.
A
He can't be
farmhouse
far.
becomes a
Search
trap.
the woods.
A forest becomes a hunting ground.
The tracks.
People
He's
talk
here.
about armies as if they disappear the
faster.
moment the fight ends. They don't. They dissolve.
He went into the woods.
And a dissolving army leaves behind men with weapons and
Quickly.
fear,
Follow me.
stumbling into villages where everyone is terrified of everyone else. That's how survivors get hunted. Not always by
He went
soldiers,
into the woods.
but
Follow
by
me,
locals
quickly.
who don't want trouble, or who want revenge, or who want your
way,
boots
look, the tracks
and your
are fresh.
belt
Move
and
faster.
your last coin. War follows you home, even when you
He
don't
went into the
make it
darkness.
home.
This way.
So
quickly.
when you lift your weapon one more time, when you scream, not out of
This way,
courage,
follow the
but out of
tracks.
necessity,
Don't let him get away.
understand what you're doing. You're not fighting for banners
He went this
or
way. Look for the
speeches.
tracks. Over here.
You're fighting for the next breath,
Over here, quickly.
the next step, the
He
next
went this way. Look, the
heartbeat.
footprints. Faster.
Because in a
Can't be far.
no-quarter battle, the only rule left is the oldest rule there is. Stay alive.